What if I told you that when your cat rubs against your leg after a really long day at work, it isn't actually giving you a welcome home hug?
Yeah, not at all.
Right. In reality, it's, treating you a bit like a corrupted hard drive that just needs to be completely reformatted.
It's a harsh truth.
It really is. Welcome to the Deep Dive, everyone. Our mission today is to take the source material we have on this highly specific but universally recognized behavior, basically, the cat waiting by the front door.
We all know the one.
Exactly. And we're going to strip away that romanticized soulmate narrative we usually attach to it. We are putting that whole narrative right up against the pretty cold, intensely biological, and pheromone-driven reality that's presented in our text.
It really forces a profound shift in perspective when you read it. The divergence between what we project onto our pets in that entryway moment and the actual physiological processes, the chemical processes dictating their actions, it's quite staggering.
It is. And whether you are a cat owner who walks into this flurry of meows and fur every single evening, or you're just someone who's endlessly curious about the mechanics of animal behavior, this deep dive is going to fundamentally alter how you view cross-species communication.
Oh, definitely.
We are going to learn how to read the secret biological language happening right on your welcome mat. Okay, let's unpack this. Because humans just have this innate tendency to project magical empathy onto our pets, right?
We absolutely do.
Like we walk through the door feeling exhausted or defeated from the day, and the cat approaches us maybe a little differently than usual, and we immediately assume, oh, they possess some spiritual connection to our aura.
Right, like they're reading your mind.
Yeah, we think they just magically know. But the research paints a much, much more clinical picture.
What's fascinating here is that cats are just not engaging in telepathy. I mean, the moment the door swings open, they're essentially functioning as highly attuned biological scanners.
Wait, biological scanners?
Yeah, they are gathering hard, empirical data about your physical state before they even decide how to interact with you.
Okay, wait, so if I walk in totally relaxed versus walking in tense and angry, are you saying the cat will deploy two entirely different greeting strategies just based on a data scan?
Absolutely. So the research in feline behavioral ecology, it indicates that domestic cats have developed this really acute ability to distinguish human emotional states. But it relies entirely on physical metrics.
Interesting. Like what kind of metrics?
Well, visually, they're analyzing your facial microexpressions, and they're monitoring your breathing rate, too.
Oh, wow. Breathing rate. Really?
Yeah, a respiratory rate that is elevated by just a few breaths per minute that signals stress to them. They're also looking at microscopic muscle tension in your posture.
That sounds like they're running a tiny, furry visual polygraph test on you.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
But the text also mentions their olfactory response. So how exactly are they smelling our emotions? Because that sounds crazy.
This is where we get into the anatomy. And it's super cool. It's not just their regular nose doing the work here.
Yeah.
Cats possess something called the vomeronasal organ.
Vomeronasal.
Right, or Jacobson's organ. It's located right in the roof of their mouth, basically behind their front teeth.
Wait, in their mouth?
Yeah. It is essentially a specialized chemical receptor. So when you experience a high-stress event, say a terrible commute or a difficult meeting, your body produces cortisol.
Right, the primary stress hormone.
Exactly. And this actually shifts the chemical composition of your sweat. You basically off-gas a specific chemical signature.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah, the cat uses that organ to quite literally taste and smell the elevated cortisol levels in the air around you.
That is wild. So if my cat keeps its distance after I've had a uniquely stressful day, it's not giving me space out of empathy.
No, not at all.
It's literally just reading the cortisol spike, seeing the muscle tension, and running a threat assessment to see if I'm safe to approach.
Precisely. Because in the wild, any animal that is unpredictable, highly stressed, or energetically erratic, that's a potential threat.
Makes sense.
Your cat processes your biological output to calculate the odds of a safe interaction. They are making this rapid risk assessment to maintain their own safety. If the physiological data suggests you are volatile, they will just abort the greeting entirely.
Wow. I mean, that makes a lot of sense, even if it is a bit unsettling to realize I'm being scanned like a barcode at the grocery store.
It is a bit clinical, yeah.
But let's look at what happens when the biological scan comes back green. Like, the cortisol levels are baseline, the breathing is steady, the data says I'm totally safe. Then they usually approach and start rubbing their head and body all over my legs.
Right.
And we, of course, naturally interpret that as affection, like a hug.
We do, yeah. But to understand this behavior, which scientists actually call a low rubbing,
Yeah.
you have to understand that In the feline cognitive framework, scent equates to identity.
Scent is identity.
Okay. There is no separation for them. So when you leave your home for 10 hours, you navigate through this chaotic environment of alien scents. You pick up the olfactory markers of public transit, the lunch you ate, the office furniture, other people.
So I'm basically a walking billboard of smells.
Exactly. From a purely biological standpoint, when you cross the threshold of your home, you do not smell entirely like yourself anymore. You are carrying this massive payload of foreign odors into a highly controlled environment.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. I was reading this part and thinking, wait, so they aren't just happy to see me. They are physically layering their own chemical signature over all that foreign data I brought in.
Yes.
Like, they're essentially performing a chemical rewriting ritual. They're reclaiming me.
That is the exact mechanism, yes.
Yeah.
Cats have these specialized sebaceous scent glands concentrated on their cheeks, on their forehead, and at the base of their tail.
Ah, which are the exact spots they rub on you.
Exactly. These glands secrete specific pheromones, which are chemical communication compounds. By forcefully weaving between your legs and pressing those specific anatomical points against you, they are depositing a complex mixture of fatty acids and proteins.
Wow. So they're reestablishing their olfactory territory.
Yes, they are stamping you.
So my analogy earlier about being a corrupted hard drive wasn't too far off. They're essentially performing a chemical reformatting process to delete the outside world and stamp me with a property of the cat pheromone profile.
It is a very, very accurate way to visualize it. And the source material highlights a specific behavioral extreme to really demonstrate this imperative.
Oh, right. The part about other animals.
Yeah. If you come home smelling specifically like another cat or another predator like a dog, this Allah-rubbing behavior ceases to be a casual greeting. It becomes frantic.
Because it's an emergency to them.
Exactly. The cat will push against your shins forcefully, often repeatedly returning to the same spots. The urgency of that response really demonstrates that this is a biological drive to neutralize an environmental threat, not just an expression of love. They have to reestablish the baseline scent of their territory.
Okay, so the visual scan clears us, and the pheromone application reformats us. But I'm curious about the acoustic element here, because my cat never does all this quietly.
Very few do.
Right. If they are just running a threat assessment and marking territory, what purpose does the loud, urgent meow serve when I first open the door? I mean, why scream at me if the biological check is already complete?
The welcoming meow is perhaps the most fascinating example of interspecies acoustic manipulation that we know of.
Acoustic manipulation. That sounds intense.
It is. The text points to acoustical analysis showing that domestic cats have actually developed a highly specialized vocalization used almost exclusively on humans.
Wait, they don't use it on other cats?
Nope. It is not a standard meow. It is a complex, high-frequency solicitation call that blends a purr with a meow.
Like a hybrid sound?
Exactly, a hybrid. And the reason they utilize this specific hybrid sound is its frequency. Research indicates that this vocalization, it hits an acoustic peak somewhere between 220 and 520 hertz.
Okay, and what's special about that range?
This specific frequency range possesses an eerie, almost perfect similarity to the isolation cry of a human infant.
Are you serious? You're saying they've engineered a sound to mimic a crying baby just to get our attention when we walk in? Are we just being manipulated?
Well, evolutionary biology suggests it is less about conscious engineering and more about operant conditioning over thousands of years of domestication.
Okay, so trial and error over millennia.
Right. Cats realize that emitting this specific frequency triggers an involuntary response in the human brain.
Sure.
Human beings, as mammals, we are biologically hardwired to respond to the frequency of an infant's distress call.
Oh, wow. So it just bypasses all our logic.
It completely bypasses our executive function, our logical brain, and it stimulates the amygdala. It creates an immediate sense of urgency in us. We feel a sudden compulsion to react, to soothe or to provide resources.
So the cat has effectively hijacked our mammalian neurological response system.
That is exactly what they've done.
I have to ask about a very specific sequence of events then, because I notice this all the time. Often, right after my cat gives me that urgent, high-pitched meow at the door, they immediately turn around and walk directly to the food bowl in the kitchen.
Ah, yes. The classic march to the kitchen.
Yeah. Are they just leading me there because they know my brain is currently hijacked?
Yes, they absolutely are. Your observation perfectly aligns with the principles of learned demand that are outlined in the text.
Learned demand.
Right. If the vocalization is immediately followed by a march to the kitchen or the litter box, the greeting contains zero emotional weight.
Ouch. Good to know.
To the cat, your arrival simply signals that a resource provider has entered the environment. They have observed the cause and effect over time, right? Like, if I emit the 300 hertz frequency, the large human will follow me and dispense sustenance.
That is so wild. They are employing deliberate acoustic manipulation to control our subsequent actions. We think we are training them, but we are completely subject to their operant conditioning.
We really are.
But this raises a contradiction I want to explore with you. If their behavior is so coldly calculated, driven entirely by resource management and biological scanning, why do they put themselves out?
What do you mean?
Well, why the front door? There is a heated bed in the living room. There are sunny windowsills all over the house. It seems like a highly uncomfortable place to wait for a food dispenser to arrive. Usually they are waiting at a cold, uncomfortable door for 20 to 30 minutes before we even get there.
It is uncomfortable. But they aren't waiting at the door for comfort or convenience. The text breaks this down into two distinct mechanisms: the biological capability of how they know to wait, the psychological reality of why they wait there.
Okay, let's start with the biology.
First, biology. Many people assume their cat has a sixth sense because they're waiting at the door before the car even pulls into the driveway. But they aren't guessing.
Right.
Cats possess an incredibly precise internal biological clock. It's governed by their circadian rhythms, which actually lock onto your daily routines.
So they are running a strict internal countdown based on my habits?
They are. But the true biological marvel here is their auditory apparatus, their superhearing. The external part of the cat's ear are controlled by 32 separate muscles.
32 muscles just for the ear.
Yeah, allowing them to act like complex directional satellite dishes. While human hearing taps out around 20,000 hertz, cats can hear ultra-high frequencies up to 64,000 hertz.
Which means they can hear things we can't even comprehend.
Right. They aren't sitting there hoping you'll arrive. They can literally hear the mechanical cadence of your specific car engine from blocks away.
No way! My specific car.
Yes. They can differentiate the friction of your tires on the pavement from a neighbor's tires. They hear the microacoustics of your keys jingling long before you even reach the front steps.
Okay, so the biological mechanics of their hearing explains the perfect timing. But we still haven't really addressed the location. If they can hear me from the bedroom, why wait right at the door? According to the text, the door is the most vulnerable boundary in their territory, right?
It is. Think of the front door from the perspective of a territorial predator. It is the ultimate perimeter vulnerability. It's the literal boundary between safety, their highly controlled, predictable indoor territory, and the chaotic, uncontrollable outside world.
Is the cat basically playing the role of an anxious border guard, then?
Exactly. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the text introduces a vital psychological concept adapted from attachment theory called the secure base.
The secure base. I like that term.
Yeah, in behavioral psychology, a secure base is an attachment figure whose presence provides a sense of safety, which allows the dependent subject to exist without crippling anxiety.
Okay.
While you were at work, the cat was left entirely alone to manage and guard its territory. The door is the primary breach point where strange noises and foreign smells seep through. So guarding this boundary elevates their autonomic nervous system. They are in a state of hypervigilance.
So when I finally unlock the door and walk in, I am acting as their secure base. My physical presence stabilizes their nervous system and signals that the territory is defended again.
Precisely. Your arrival triggers a physiological downregulation of their nervous system. You take the burden of territorial defense off their shoulders, making their world predictable again.
Which feels amazing to them, I'm sure.
It does. And this psychological mechanism perfectly explains why cats exhibit such frantic behavior if you are unexpectedly late.
Right, so their panic isn't necessarily because they missed my sparkling personality.
Not at all. If you are an hour late, the routine is broken. To a territorial animal, a loss of routine represents a catastrophic loss of environmental control. And a loss of control means profound danger.
Wow.
The loud meowing and the anxious pacing when you finally walk in isn't a reprimand. It's a physical manifestation of panic because the secure base was missing and the territorial boundary was vulnerable for way too long.
That dramatically reframes the entire interaction. We've gone from assuming they are our adoring soulmates to realizing they are these data analyzing, pheromone stamping, acoustically manipulating territorial guards who desperately need our presence to biologically regulate their stress levels.
It's a lot to take in.
It really is. So what does this all mean for us? Like the humans in the equation, we need to translate these biological mechanisms into something actionable because the text insists the listener actually have a critical role to play the exact moment they turn the key.
They absolutely do. The source material outlines an actionable protocol it calls the 10-second rule.
The 10-second rule. Okay.
It asserts that the first 10 seconds, immediately following your entry through the door, basically dictate the entire nature of your ongoing relationship with the animal.
10 seconds is a tiny window of time to establish a relationship. Why is it so brief?
Because you are interrupting an active biological sequence. Remember the context we just talked about. The cat has been maintaining a stressful vigil at a vulnerable boundary, relying on its internal clock and auditory scanning to anticipate the return of their secure base.
Right. They are totally keyed up.
Exactly. They are primed and physiologically ready to perform the allo-rubbing ritual to chemically rewrite your scent profile. If you walk in, drop your bags, pull out your smartphone to check an email, or immediately walk past them to take off your coat, you abruptly break their communication cycle.
So if I prioritize taking off my shoes or looking at my phone, I'm actively ignoring the biological data they're trying to process.
Yes, and the chemical transaction they need to complete.
So I'm basically leaving them in that state of hypervigilant perimeter defense.
Yes. And cats are incredibly efficient at operant learning. But they are not dogs. They do not chronically solicit affection if the solicitation goes unanswered. Cats don't ask for attention twice.
Oh, that's so true.
If you repeatedly ignore them in that critical 10-second transition window, a process called operant extinction occurs. The cat will simply learn that the greeting ritual yields no biological or psychological reward. They will stop doing it entirely.
Because it's pointless to them.
Right, so the source material is very clear on your responsibility. When you walk in, you must intentionally lower your physical energy. Put the devices away, stop moving, sit down or kneel on the floor.
Just be present.
Yes, you must actively allow the cat to complete its pheromone rewriting process. Let them rub against your shins. Let them deposit those sebaceous gland secretions. You have to willingly participate in their biological reality.
So by just pausing for 10 seconds and staying still, you are effectively validating their survival instincts. You are physiologically confirming that the secure base is active and the territory is safe. It is actually quite a lot of responsibility when you think about it. To wrap this all up, the deep dive today really exposes the dual nature of the cat at the front door. On one hand, it is a surprisingly calculating, pheromone-driven biological machine, running threat assessments and using acoustic manipulation purely for resource management.
A tiny survival machine.
Yeah. But on the other hand, it reveals this profound, almost fragile psychological need for a safe harbor. By taking those 10 seconds, by letting them chemically reformat you with their scent glands, you are doing so much more than just saying hello. You are stabilizing their autonomic nervous system. You are securing a tiny waiting world. It makes me respect the absolute complexity of the whole process so much more.
It is an exquisitely elegant biological system. But if we truly sit with the physiological realities we've discussed today, the vomeronasal processing of our hormones, the auditory tracking of our engines, the acoustic manipulation of our mammalian instincts, it leaves us with something quite profound to consider.
Oh, definitely.
If cats are truly this highly attuned to our micro-expressions, our respiratory rates, and the shifting cortisol levels in our sweat, just to calculate how to greet us at the door, what other subtle, invisible human biological signals are they reading, processing, and reacting to every single day that we haven't even noticed yet?
That is a wild thought.
It really raises the ultimate question. Are we keeping cats as domestic pets, or are they keeping us as long-term biological study subjects?